This call is now being recorded.
Okay, so for the students who were attending the last lecture or the second lecture, it will be the revision for them. I will just brief you what we have covered in last two lectures, or rather 4 hours. So we have gone through the fundamentals chapter, so in which we have gone through the concept of operating system, then different functions of operating system, then the introduction to distributed system. So that means what is the definition of distributed system that we have seen. So it is a collection of independent computers appears to its users as a single coherent system. ही जी काही definition आहे that we have seen last time. So this definition can be asked as a objective question, like your MCQ question. It can be asked. Then we have gone through the distributed system with its two types, that is tightly coupled system and loosely coupled system. Then we have gone through the evolution of distributed system. We have seen its history. Then after we have seen different advantages of distributed system over centralized system. So in that we have covered the concept of economics, reliability, speed, incremental growth, then data sharing, then resource sharing, communication, flexibility. Okay, all these aspects or the advantages we have seen. Then we have gone through different distributed computing system models. So any one or any two of the models can be asked in your exam for details or explanation purpose. Okay, so this question may carry 4 marks. So any of the model can be asked. So first model we have gone through is mini computer model, then workstation model. So whatever the workstation model, and it is having the disadvantages, so that how they have covered in case of workstation server model that we have seen. Then next model, processor pool model, in which the pool of processors, how it is working, like run server, your file server, etc., how they are working, that we have seen in processor pool model. And finally, the hybrid model, that is the combination of two models, that is workstation server and processor pool model, that we have seen. So maybe from the first four, uh, that is our mini computer model, workstation server, and processor pool. From out of these four, any two or one can be asked for your exam. Then in the last lecture, we have gone through the distributed computing gaining popularity, that point. Okay, so in which we have seen why distributed systems are having these many advantages and why it is getting popularity. So point by point we have seen all the points over there. So first is inherently distributed applications, then information sharing among distributed users, how the resource sharing is being done in case of distributed system, then how the better price performance ratio can be achieved, then shorter response time and higher throughput, then higher reliability, extensibility and incremental growth, how we are achieving this incremental growth, then how the better flexibility in meeting users needs. All these points we have seen in the last lecture. Okay, so because of these 8 reasons, we are having distributed system as a popular system in the networking. Okay, so if this kind of question, if it is asked, you should be able to give any 2 or 4 depending upon the marks, these many number of points in your answer. Apart from this, you can add the advantages we have seen in the last 2 points, that also you can cover in this. Okay, and then still, apart from having these many advantages of distributed system, we have gone through some of the issues in distributed system, in designing of distributed system. So that points we have seen in the last lecture. So in that, the first point was transparency. Okay, so why transparency, or how transparency is been divided into number of points. So under transparency, we have gone through 8 different types of transparencies, in which we have gone through the access transparency. So transparency, how we are taking in this model, so that briefly we have discussed in the last lecture. So transparency, we are not taking as a transparent system or just like glass. Okay, here the transparency means whatever that you are doing, it is aware to only those 2 points. Means the sender and the receiver, other users should be aware of whatever the transaction is being done in those 2 points. Okay, so in this way we are elaborating this transparency point, in which first is access transparency, then second is location. So under location we have seen the name transparency, user mobility, then replication transparency, failure transparency, migration transparency, concurrency transparency, performance transparency, and scaling transparency. Okay, so for all these type of transparencies, we can say that we can take the example of our laboratory. Okay, so if we consider the example, or take the picture of our laboratories in front of us, then we will be able to explain all the things out of it. Okay, सो प्रत्येक पॉइंट एक्सप्लेन करत असताना यातलं जर लॅबचं स्ट्रक्चर तुमच्या डोळ्यासमोर असेल तर तुम्ही जास्तीत जास्त ती कन्सेप्ट तुम्हाला क्लिअर पण होईल, आणि यू कॅन बी इन अ पोझिशन टू एक्सप्लेन ऑल दीज थिंग्स. देन आफ्टर second point we have seen, that is reliability. So in reliability, or making your system more and more reliable, we have seen the points like fault avoidance, fault tolerance, fault detection, and recovery. Okay, then coming to the flexibility. So how we are going to achieve the flexibility? By using ease of modification and ease of enhancement that we have seen. Then how to achieve better performance, that we have seen. So by using batch if possible, so cache system whenever possible, then minimizing copying of data, minimizing network traffic, and the fine-grained parallelism for multiprocessing system. Just the just the introduction of this particular parallelism system that we have seen in under performance point. Then coming to the scalability. So how you are making your system, distributed system, more and more scalable. So by avoiding the centralized entities, avoiding the centralized algorithms, and by performing most operations on client workstations, we can achieve the more and more scalability in distributed system. But also this point is coming under the issue. Then we have seen the heterogeneity, then security. So under security, the authentication from server side, then also from the receiver side, or sender or receiver side, we can say. Then confidentiality of the message, how we are going to achieve under security, that is also the point of issue in DS. And finally, the emulation of existing operating system. Okay, so these 8 points we have covered under issues in designing distributed system. So again, on this point also you may be asked one question. So out of these 8, you have to explain any 4, okay, with proper explanation of them. Then now we are turning towards the next bit, that is introduction to distributed computing system environment. So what is exactly the DCE, distributed computing environment? So it is not an operating system, we can say, nor it is an application. Rather, it is an integrated set of services. Integrated set of services and tools that can be installed as a coherent environment on top of existing operating system and serve as a platform for building and running the distributed applications. Okay, so this is nothing but the environment. And if we go into the details of it, so we can say that it is a vendor independent distributed computing environment, and it is defined by Open Software Foundation, that is OSF, the and a consortium of computer manufacturers, including your IBM, DEC, and Hewlett Packard, that is your HP. Okay, so these three have given us the beautiful environment of distributed computing. So a primary goal of DCE is a vendor independence. Okay, so no any vendor is coming in between in this particular environment. It runs on many different kinds of computer, operating system, and networks produced by different vendors. So some of the examples, we can say that some OSs to which this DCE can be easily ported include some OSF, AIX, Domain, Ultrix, HP, Cynix, Sun operating system, Unix operating system, VMS, Windows, and OS2. These are some of the examples of OSs that are utilizing the distributed computing environment. So, this figure is showing you the DCE as a middleware software layered between the DCE application layer and the operating system and networking layer. Don't be so late at the time of joining the session. So this figure will be elaborating the architecture. So it will be including the different DCE application, your DCE software, and then coming the operating system and networking part. Okay. So DCE software layer, which is present here on the top of operating system and networking layer, hides the differences between the machines by automatically performing data type conversions when they are necessary. So the task of uh, data type conversion that is being done by this particular layer, so that the heterogeneous nature of the system is transparent to the application or the application's programmers, making their job of writing distributed applications much and more simpler, we can say. Okay, so this is the diagram which is explaining you the DCE. So if we go into the details of its components, so the components are including, so DCE is having some of the main components which are as follows. The first is the thread package. So why we are using thread concept in case of Java? What is the use of threading? Yes. Why we are going for threading? You have gone through the Java programming, right? And in that, the threading concept is already covered. The same we are using here also, in this also. So why we use threads? Come on, anybody can answer. the concept of threading. Okay, that's good. Priyanka Kamble is giving the answer to do multiple tasks simultaneously. Okay, right. So to achieve the concurrent applications running, that kind of advantage, we can use the threading system in our programming, right? So here also the thread packages are included in the DCE components. So also here also it provides a simple programming model for building concurrent applications. Okay, so it includes the operations to create and control multiple threads of execution in a single process and to synchronize access to global data within an application. Okay, so the first is thread package, then second is remote procedure call facility, RPC facility. So have you gone through any of the programs related to RPC in this, and what you are doing in RPC? I think some uh, these kind of programs you might have gone through in your Java programming. Yes. So some applications like in which you are connecting server to a particular client, maybe by giving a particular IP address or by just checking from multiple users, whoever is giving you the response, like that application. Okay, so here in case of distributed system also we are having some practicals in which this client server connectivity type of programming we are having for practicals, and depending on this only the assignments or the programs will be given to you, and with this only you have to implement different algorithms that we are going to cover in our second or third chapter. Okay, so you must be aware of how to connect two machines, server and client, which is already done as one of the unit in Java programming last time in the last year, right? So here we can say that RPC facility, remote procedure calls, so it is providing the programmers with a number of powerful tools necessary to build client server applications. Okay, so absolutely it is used for the client server applications, and we will be going to see this kind of applications in our lectures, coming lectures also. Then next is distributed time service, DTS. So it is closely synchronizes the clocks of all the computers in the system. So why it is necessary to synchronize all the clocks present in the distributed system? Any idea? Or then we have gone through the first tightly coupled and loosely coupled system. I have given you the example of it. So why it is necessary to synchronize all the clocks present in your system? Any idea? No matter it could be wrong, but you should speak out something. Otherwise, I will pick anybody from you. Okay. The task done in synchronous manner. So can you elaborate with any of the example? Which kind of task will be included in this? Time sharing operating system. Okay, but any real time example for this? Satyam, birthday boy. Okay, good one. Running both front end, back end at the same time. Okay, but it will be related to means if you are running both the applications on one machine only. ओके काहीतरी वेब रिलेटेड डेटा आहे तुम्ही यूज करताय आणि त्यामध्ये त्याच मशीनवरती तुमचा डेटाबेस वगैरे आहे ओके so that time we cannot say I want synchronization of time in multiple machines which are present in your distributed environment like 20 30 40 100 machines having same time that kind of example. Okay, each user uses data of mainframe such as CPU etc. So I guess the idea is much more clear to you how we are going to achieve the synchronization between different clocks. Okay, so at the time of discussing about tightly coupled system, we have seen the example of satellite launching. Okay, in which different machines are doing their own task, but at the time of exactly satellite launching, all the tasks we are taking together, and at the same time, at the zero countdown, you are going to fire your satellite. Okay, so this can also be the example we can check, we can take. And also as one of the students say that front end back end, so that is also good example you can say. Rather the system you can say which we are using in banking. Okay, so if you are logging through different ports, सपोज मी माझ्या मशीनवरती काहीतरी एक ट्रान्झॅक्शन करते, ॲट द सेम टाइम मोबाईलवरून काहीतरी एक ट्रान्झॅक्शन करते, तर या सगळ्यांचा रिझल्ट जो काही आहे तो तो माझ्या डेटाबेसला, माझ्या अकाउंटला प्रॉपरली रिफ्लेक्ट व्हायला पाहिजे. सपोज फॉर एक्झाम्पल की माझ्या अकाउंटमध्ये 20,000 अमाऊंट आहे, तर ते ट्रान्झॅक्शन करत असताना मी सपोज एखादं काहीतरी ऑनलाईन परचेस केला 10,000 रुपीजचा, अँड ॲट द सेम टाइम सपोज मी काहीतरी एक 5,000 रुपीज माझ्या फ्रेंडला ट्रान्सफर करत असेल. ओके, माझ्या, किंवा आपण असं म्हणू की थोडंसं वेगळं एक्झाम्पल घेऊ की 10,000 माझ्या अकाउंटवरती आहेत आणि मी 10,000चंच परचेस करते आहे, आणि ॲट द सेम टाइम जर मी 5,000 मनी ट्रान्सफर करत असेल माझ्या फ्रेंडला, तर इज इट पॉसिबल? नो. जी पहिली रिक्वेस्ट येणार आहे ट्रान्झॅक्शन होत असताना, जी पहिली कंप्लीट होईल, फुलफिल होईल, तर त्यानंतर सपोज फॉर एक्झाम्पल माझं काय म्हणायचं त्याला 5,000 रुपीजचं जे ट्रान्झॅक्शन आहे फ्रेंडला करत आहे मी, तर ते जर पहिल्यांदा झालं तर आता माझ्या अकाउंटला बॅलन्स किती आहे? 5,000. ओके, आणि ॲट द सेम टाइम माझी रिक्वेस्ट गेली की 10,000 रुपीजचं काहीतरी मी परचेस करत आहे त्यावेळेला, तर ते ट्रान्झॅक्शन होत असताना प्रॉपरली मला नोटिफिकेशन यायला पाहिजे की यू आर नॉट हॅव्हिंग सफिशियंट बॅलन्स इन युअर अकाउंट. ओके, सो त्यावेळेला मी म्हणू शकेन की जे काही डेटाबेसमधल्या ज्या एंट्री आहेत त्या प्रॉपरली प्रॉपर फ्रॅक्शन ऑफ सेकंड्सला तुमच्या स्टोअर व्हायला हवेत आणि अकॉर्डिंगली तुम्हाला रिझल्ट त्याचे मिळायला हवेत. बरोबर आहे? अदरवाईज काय होईल? बँकेचा तोटा होऊन जाईल. माझ्याकडे 10,000चंच बॅलन्स असताना मी जर 15,000चं ट्रान्झॅक्शन करत असेल तर इट विल बी लॉस ऑफ 5,000 टू द बँक. सो हे जे काही आहे याच्यासाठी जी काही क्लॉक सिंक्रोनायझेशन आवश्यक असणार आहे, सो दॅट इज very important. So that is we are covering here in DCE components, distributed time service. Next, coming to the name service. Okay, the name services of DCE include the cell directory service CDS and the global directory service GDS, as well as the global directory agent GDA. Okay, so these services allow resources such as servers, files, then devices, and so on to be uniquely named and accessed in a location transparent manner. So if you are sharing some of the devices or the files, they should be having a unique name. Okay, so that at the time of sending the data from or giving the access or sharing that particular resource, it should not give any kind of name conflict. Okay, so this task is done, or this care is been done, is been taken by your name services. Then next is security services, which are really very important. It provides the tools needed for authentication and authorization to protect system resources against the unauthorized or illegitimate access, we can say. Okay, so in case of database administrator, the task of giving different authentications to the particular users also, we have seen this task is done by your DBA. So such kind of applications we are providing here to give different security services. And then next component is distributed file service, DFS. So it provides a system-wide file system that has such characteristics as location transparency, high performance, and high availability. Okay, so whatever files we are sharing, here also you can take the example of our FTP servers by which we are getting access to different files, or here in this example we can say that we are accessing the nodes, different softwares, or any of the information present on FTP server. So system-wide file system access should be given by using the location transparency, high performance, and high availability. Okay. Then next is, so how the interdependency of these all components are given is there, that is given in this particular table. So if we consider the threads, so threads are not used by any of the any other component, we can say. If we are going for the RPC, so RPC is used by threads, then name service and security services. Okay, so whatever the services we have seen here, all these 6 services, how they are interdependent on each other, that is given in this table. So for RPC, we are having threads and name and security as the components. Then next is DTS. What is DTS? Distributed time services. So here, these are dependent, or their interdependency is there on the thread service or RPC, name and security. Again, if we go for name, it will be on thread, RPC, DTS and security. Security, threads, RPC, DTS and name. And DFS, file system. So in this, threads, RPC, DTS, name and security. Okay, so if we consider the example of distributed file services or file system, so here its dependency is there definitely on the thread system, RPC, your remote procedure call, DTS, that is your time services, then name and the security services. Okay, so interdependency is given over here. How the DFS is dependent on all the other 5 components, we can say. DFS साठी राहिलेल्या 5 वरती आपली डिपेंडन्सी कशी काय असणार आहे? तर here also again you can consider the example of FTP server. ओके, थ्रेडची कन्सेप्ट आपण बघितलेली आहे. तर थ्रेड मध्ये आपण काय केलंय की कॉन्करंट और सायमल्टेनियस ऍक्सेस जर आपल्याला द्यायचा आहे. ओके, तुम्हाला जर सांगितलं की FTP वरती हे पर्टिक्युलर सॉफ्टवेअर आपण टाकलेलं आहे, तर ते तुम्ही त्या लोकेशन मधून कॅप्चर करून घ्या आणि तुमच्या सिस्टीमला टाका. ओके, असं तुम्हाला मे बी फर्स्ट प्रॅक्टिकलला वगैरे सांगितलं जाऊ शकतं. सो दॅट टू अचीव इन्स्टॉलेशन ऑफ दॅट सॉफ्टवेअर अँड ऑन ईच अँड एव्हरी मशीन ॲट द सेम टाइम. ओके, सो हे करत असताना आपल्याला प्रत्येक मशीननं जरी ॲक्सेस केला तरी त्या मोमेंट ऑफ टाइमला आपल्याला FTP सर्व्हर अवेलेबल आहे का? आहे. सो डिफरंट थ्रेड्स, डिफरंट युजर कडून आपण त्या सर्व्हरवरचा असलेला डेटा ॲक्सेस करू शकतो. सो वी आर हॅव्हिंग हिअर threading or the thread package dependency. Then coming RPC, remote procedure call. So how again this will come into picture? इथे सुद्धा आपण from one machine we are getting access from the another machine. बरोबर आहे? सपोज तुम्ही सर्व्हरला FTP सर्व्हरला पिंग केलं तर तुम्हाला त्याची रिक्वेस्ट टाकल्यानंतर रिस्पॉन्स मिळणार आहे. पण जर माझं सर्व्हरच डाऊन असेल तर सगळ्या मशीनला ॲट द सेम टाइम ॲक्सेस मिळणार आहे का? डेफिनेटली नॉट. सो हिअर RPC ऑल्सो कम इन टू पिक्चर. देन DTS, काय म्हणायचं, डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड टाइम सर्व्हिसेस. सो हिअर यू कॅन टेक द एक्झाम्पल ऑफ not FTP server, but you can take the example of, say for example, databases. Okay, so databases कशा पद्धतीनं की आता जसं तुम्हाला ह्याचं काय माहिती ट्रान्झॅक्शनचं एक्झाम्पल सांगितलं, तर त्या पद्धतीनं whatever the transaction is happening, So at each and every fraction of second, you have to store the details in your database. ओके. सो त्यामुळे काय होईल, हे जे आत्ताच्या एक्झाम्पल मध्ये सांगितलेलं कॉन्फ्लिक्ट होतं तर तो तुम्ही अवॉइड करू शकाल. ओके. देन अगेन कमिंग टू द नेम सर्व्हिसेस फॉर दिस DFS, हाऊ द नेम सर्व्हिस इज पॉसिबल. सो पुन्हा एकदा आपण FTPच्या एक्झाम्पल मध्ये जर यामध्ये गेलो तर FTP वरची इन्फॉर्मेशन कोण ऍक्सेस करत आहे, किती युजर्स त्याच्याशी लॉग्ड इन आहेत, हे वगैरे आपल्याला समजून येतं का. की सपोज फॉर एक्झाम्पल मी माझ्या मशीनवरती एखादा फोल्डर शेअर करून ठेवला असेल तर आणि तो माझ्या फ्रेंड्सना ऍक्सेस दिला. ओके. तर ऍट द टाइम किती फ्रेंड्स कडून माझं फोल्डर व्ह्यू केलं जात असेल किंवा त्याच्यावरचे कंटेंट्स डाउनलोड केलं जात असेल, हे मला ॲज अ सर्व्हर कदाचित कळू शकेल. पण सपोज एक्स युजरला वाय युजर कुठली इन्फॉर्मेशन कॅप्चर करतोय हे या ठिकाणी क्लिअर होत आहे का, नाही. सो दॅट्स वाय वी आर अचिव्हिंग हिअर द नेम ट्रान्सपरन्सी अंडर द नेम सर्व्हिसेस. अँड देन सिक्युरिटी सर्व्हिसेस विच इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट, की हे सगळं करत असताना सिक्युरिटी, तुमच्या डेटाची सिक्युरिटी असेल. आता डेटाची सिक्युरिटी इन केस ऑफ FTP आपण येस वी कॅन से दॅट इट इज देअर, कारण जे काही राईट्स आहेत ते माझे सर्व्हरकडून मी देणार आहे. विच पर्टिक्युलर फोल्डर शुड बी ॲक्सेसिबल ॲज अ व्ह्यू ओनली. ओके. और इट शुड बी एडिटेबल. जो काही डेटा आहे तो त्याचा ॲक्सेस किती प्रमाणात कुठल्या युजर्सला द्यायचा हे मी डिसाईड करणार आहे ॲज अ सर्व्हर. बरोबर आहे. सो आय विल बी द पर्सन हू विल बी गिविंग प्रॉपर ऑथेंटिकेशन, प्रॉपर सिक्युरिटी टू माय डेटा. So this DFS is dependent on all the other components present under your DCE. Okay. So any doubt in this or in these 6 points? Okay. So we will proceed for the next is DCE cells. So the factors deciding the boundaries for this DCE cell. So in DCE system, a cell is a group of users, machines, or other resources that typically have a common purpose and share common DCE services. So the minimum cell configuration requires a cell directory server, security server, and distributed time server, and one more client machine. So some of the factors that we should take into consideration for deciding the cell boundaries are, the first one is the purpose. So purpose is like the machines of the users working on common goal should be put in the same cell as they need easy access to a common set of system resources. Okay. So the whatever the purpose is there behind accessing these system resources also, that should be defined, properly defined. Then next is administration. So each system needs an administrator to register new users in the system and to decide their access rights to the system resources. So just like your DBA administrator, so to give access of view only, or which particular access should be given to which particular user, so this task should be done by the administrator. Okay. Then coming next is security. So machines of those users who have greater trust in each other should be put in the same cell, and that is the users of machines of a cell trust each other more than they trust the users of machines of other cells. Okay, so whichever the machines or the users which are trustworthy, we will put them in one cell and other in other cell. Okay, so accordingly, the division should be done. And finally, the overhead. So suppose several DCE operations such as name resolution, user authentication, which are giving you the more overhead, okay, when they are performed between cells than when they are performed within the same cell. Okay, so this kind of overhead or uh, kind of traffic over one particular machine can be divided into different cells. Okay, so therefore machines of users who frequently interact with each other and the resources frequently accessed by them should be placed in one particular cell and others in other cells. So in this way we are defining the boundary for these DCE cells. Okay, so for this DCE, distributed computing environment, the question can be asked is this one. What are the different DCE components? Okay, so till now, no question was there on the points like give the details about the distributed computing environment also. So on this point, no question is there. But if you are asked the question for, say, for example, 8 marks or so, so at that time you should be able to answer, or you should be in the position to give the explanation for this figure, and then go for the explanation of these DCE components. And then after giving the explanation, you have to uh, explain the interdependency of these DCE components. Okay, so on this only the question can be asked, maybe for 4 marks or 8 marks. And on DCE cells, no question was there till now. Okay, but still 4 options are there. So question can be asked for objective, like by skipping any of these options, and question can be asked. Okay, so here DCE cells we are covering with. Then next is the protocols for distributed system. Okay, so just relaxation for 2 minutes for me, not for you. Okay. So now we are turning towards the last bit of this chapter, that is the protocols for distributed system. So in this we are covering two protocols, FLIP and VMTP. So why we need different protocols for different distributed system? So the requirements are given over here. So the first is transparency. So why we need transparency? Can anybody of you explain? Now we have seen, or we have gone through 8 different types of transparencies. Just unmute your mic and explain. Or you can put your answer in chat window. All right. So in case of distributed system, the location transparency is very important issue. Okay. So the communication protocols for network system use the location dependent process identifiers such as port address that are unique only within a node. Okay, so that's why we need transparency in case of distributed system. And we have gone through all the points, 8 points under the issues, like it is very difficult to achieve transparency in case of these DS. But still, to achieve this, we have to go for these two protocols. Then next is client server based communication. So definitely your distributed system is the application of client server programming, or sending some request and receiving the data related to your request, that kind of application, right? So most communications in distributed systems are based on the client server model only, in which client requests a server to perform some work done for it by sending the server a message and then waiting until the server sends back a reply. Okay. So communication protocols for distributed system must have a simple connectionless protocol having features to support request response behavior. So for this, in our third chapter, we are going to see different protocols for this, in which it is covering the R protocol, that is request protocol, then RR protocol, that is request reply protocol, and RRA, request reply acknowledgement type of protocol. ठीक है? Just by taking the names only, you will get the idea how they can be performed, but we are going to cover them in the third chapter. So definitely client server based communication is very necessary. Then the third one is group communication. Why we need group communication? Okay, so communication protocols for distributed system must support more flexible and efficient group communication facility, in which a group address can be mapped on one or more data link addresses, and the routing protocol can use a data link multicast address to send a message to all the receivers belonging to the group defined by the multicast address. So whenever you are performing the application like multicast, broadcast, or client server kind of application, so here uh, different things related to group communication will come into picture. So that's why it is necessary to go for this particular protocol. Then definitely the issue related to security. So on security, we have already given much more explanation. So communication protocol is needed that can support a flexible and efficient encryption mechanism in which a message is encrypted only if the path it takes across the network cannot be trusted. So how we can achieve security in case of WhatsApp? Before some days something your data is encrypted and that kind of message was coming, or if you are having a group of say 100 people and only 3 admins are there, how can you achieve the security in this case? You can take the example with current situation. जे आता आपण या कंडिशनला कशा पद्धतीने सिक्युरिटी अचीव करू शकतो. काही दिवसांपूर्वी न्यूज स्प्रेड होत होती की कोरोना रिलेटेड वगैरे काही फेक न्यूज स्प्रेड करू नका. यू आर कंटिन्युअसली अंडर वॉच फ्रॉम द सिक्युरिटी सिस्टीम फॉर व्हॉट्सअप ऑर सम अदर मीडिया, सोशल मीडिया वगैरे वगैरे. तर त्या केसमध्ये आपल्या आपल्या ग्रुपची सिक्युरिटी आपण कशी अचीव करू शकतो? So person can be added or removed at any moment of time. You can give access to a particular person, trustworthy person only as the admin. You will be able to delete the message for you also, for everybody also. Then you will be able to give the like facility of sending the messages from admin only. Such these kind of security measures we can include in case of WhatsApp. Okay. If any other are there, you are aware of that. Okay. So this is covering the security in case of multicast or broadcast for WhatsApp. Then next coming for network management. So network protocols should automatically handle network management activities to reflect dynamic changes in case of network configuration. So your management should be flexible enough to give proper reply to any kind of changes that are there in your network. Restricted for adding or removing some of the machines from your network, but also to give security or to manage all the protocols related to your network. And finally, the scalability. A communication protocol for distributed system must scale well and allow efficient communication to take place in both the LAN and WAN environments. Okay, so to achieve scalability. So in this, you're having first protocol, that is your VMTP, that is Versatile Message Transfer Protocol. So this is transparent protocol, is specially designed for distributed operating system and has been used in vSystem. So what is vSystem? B system or these kind of models you have gone through in case of software engineering. Okay, so it is a connectionless protocol and supports request response behavior. That is your RR algorithm is been implemented in this, and our request response behavior between the client and one or more server processes. It is based on the concept of message transaction that consists of request message sent by a client to one or more servers followed by zero or more response messages sent back to the client by the servers, at most one per server. So how you're going to send the request and how many requests you are getting as a response, that will be controlled over here. Then to support the transparency and to provide group communication facility, entities in VMTP are identified by 64-bit identifiers that are unique. Okay, so here we are using 64-bit identifiers in which all the fields are unique, stable, and independent of the host address. So this diagram will be giving you the packet format used in VMTP. For better performance, VMTP provides a selective retransmission mechanism. The packets of a message are divided into the package groups that contain up to a maximum of 16 KB of segment data. So data segment part which is of 16 KB, which is shown in this diagram. So this will be having the whole data that is to be transmitted, and it will be divided into 16 KB segments. Okay, then after all these segments are again divided into the blocks which are of 512 KB or so. The VMTP uses a rate-based flow control transmission mechanism. In this, packets in a packet group are spaced out with interpacket gaps to reduce the arrival rate at the receiver side. So this allows the client and server to be explicitly communicate their desirable interpacket gap times and make adjustment based on the selective transmission requests. So in addition to these features, VMTP provides a rich collection of optional facilities that expand its functionality and efficiency in various situations. One such facility that is particularly useful for real-time communication is the facility of conditional message delivery. So conditional message delivery, we just now have seen one of the example for this. So this way your VMTP packet uh, um, sending is happening. So here is the data transmission format is given, and next diagram is giving you the request response behavior present in case of VMTP. So as one of the algorithms I given you, that is RR. So whenever you are sending your request, that time you are getting the response from the servers. Next is request, that is request B is going to the server, and accordingly the response will be given from the server. Okay. Here in this case, in case of VMTP, request A is coming from the client, and for that request, server is sending the response. Okay, that is okay. But again, the client is sending the request for or sending the request B to the server. So at this uh, moment of time, your server is not able to understand whether your client is getting the response from for the first request or not. Okay, so no any kind of acknowledgement is received for the server in this kind of structures. So we can say that the piggybacking concept will come under this. So this is just the behavior that VMTP is following. Okay, so you can explain this diagram at the time of giving the answer also. And the next protocol, that is flip protocol. So flip, that is fast local internet protocol. So this is also one of the connection-less protocol for distributed operating system. Its main features include the transparency, security, easy network management, group communication facility, and efficient client-server-based communication facility. Okay, so all these issues are covered in case of flip. So for transparency, flip identifies the entities called network service access access points NSPs with the location independent 64-bit identifiers. Sites on an internetwork can have more than one NSPs, typically one or more for each entity, for example, the process. Each site present in this is connected to an internetwork by a flip protocol, or we can say that we flip box that either can be a software layer in the operating system of the corresponding site or can be run on a specific communication processor. Each flip box is present over here. So whenever your host is giving any kind of request, so this flip box, how it will be interacting? So it will be having host interface, packet switching, and network interface. So accordingly, it will transfer your request to the proper Ethernet or the token ring present over the network. Each flip box maintains a routing table that is basically a dynamic hint cache mapping NSP addresses on the data link addresses. Special primitives are provided to dynamically register and unregister the NSP's addresses into the routing table of the flip box. An entity can either register more than one addresses in the flip box. For example, its own address to receive message directed to the entity itself and null address to receive the broadcast messages. So depending upon the application, whether it is a point-to-point type of message sending or broadcast sending, it will be giving you the proper response over here. Flip messages are transmitted unreachably between the NSPs. A flip message may be of any size less than 2 raised to 32 minus 1. This is the size given over there. The basic function of flip is to route an arbitrary length messages from the source NSPs to the destination NSPs. The path selection policy is based on the information stored in the routing table of each flip box about the networks to which it is connected. So each and every flip box is having the information related to each and every node present in your network. So whenever the request will be coming, according or checking of the entry in the routing table will be done, and then this message will be sent to the respective client. The two main parameters used for this purpose are the network weight and the security bit. The three types of calls provided in flip for sending a message to a public address are flip unicast, flip multicast, and flip broadcast. These calls provide both point-to-point and group communication facilities. The group communication protocols make heavy use of flip multicast, and this has the advantage that the group of n processes can be addressed using one flip address even if they are located on multiple networks. So the facility of point-to-point, group communication, or that is your multicast or broadcast, all that are provided by your flip. Also, flip supports easy network management because dynamic changes in network configuration are automatically handled. The only network management job that require human intervention is the specification of trusted and untrusted network. Okay, so that is flip relies on the system administrator to make network interface as trusted one or untrusted one, because flip itself cannot determine if a network can be considered trusted or not. So that kind of guidelines you have to provide over there. Then one requirement for each flip does not provide full support is wide area networking, that is your WAN. Although flip has been used successfully in small WANs, it does not scale well enough to be used as a WAN communication protocol in a large WAN. Flip designers traded scalability for functionality because they felt that wide area communication should not be done at network layer but in higher layers. Okay, so in this way your flip box interface will be working. So whenever you will be asked for the protocols related to DS, you should be able to answer any of the two. But if any specific question is asked, that is explain VMTP or flip, so you should give your answer by using the diagrams, that is packet format present with this in case of flip also. Okay. So with this, we are ending with the first unit, and the content beyond the syllabus also covered in these slides. So apart from the models that we have seen, first 5 models we have seen in case of DS. So we have some other models like this kind of hierarchy from layer 1, 2 up to N. So in this way your request and reply architecture will be there. And one more model is there. It is not absolutely or we can say that a kind of ring is there in which you are going to communicate in this fashion. So till now, any doubt? Still we are having 30 minutes. So some of the MCQs related to this chapter are also included in this slide, but answers are also displayed on the slides. So just give me 2 minutes. So in this time, I want to ask you one question that how many of you are interested in apparent registration? The PPT or their different schemes are already shared on your group. PPT is already shared on your group related to apparent registration. So anybody interested in the apparent? Yeah, okay. I was on a mute. One question is there, courses are paid or not? I think the courses are having fees of 6,000, right? But as per the words from HOD madam, she was saying that out of these 6,000, you have to pay 3,000 and college will be paying 3,000. And also at the end of the course, they will be giving you the project. Okay, and that project you can consider as your final year project also. And those definitely those projects will be based on industry related application, or sometimes they can be the live projects also sometimes. And Jadhav madam also said that they can be um, considered as your final year projects. So I think 50% fee you have to pay. Remaining 50% college will be paying. Still I will confirm. Okay. So if you are done with the registration, give the reply or the related snapshot to your project coordinator, that is Gaikwad sir also, so that you can be in touch with the application or the final year project that you will be handling. Okay. So some of the MCQs related to this chapter that we are going to see now. The first one is, in distributed system, each processor has its own local memory or clock, or both local memory and clock, or none of the mentioned. So I'm getting both the answers, option C and A, but the option C is correct, as you can take the picture of a loosely coupled system for this distributed system, which is having, definitely it will be having its own local memory as well as clock also, because if you see in your laboratory, each and every machine may be having their own clock. Might be some of the students are setting their clocks uh, a day after or a day before also. Okay, so this will not hamper overall performance of your system, but it may hamper at the time of sending your mail sometimes. Okay, but here for this question the answer is C. It is having both local memory and clock. Next one. If one site fails in distributed system, what will happen? The remaining sites can continue operating, all the sites will stop working, directly connected sites will stop working, and none of the mentioned. Yes, the option A is correct. In case of distributed system, again we can take the example of laboratory. If any of the machines is not working properly, it is crashed. Still, other 19 machines will be in working condition, right? Next one. Network operating system runs on server, every system in the network, both server and every system, and none of the mentioned. Option A. Here the example of network operating system is given. So if you are working in a network, you will be following the server, not each and every machine. Next one. Which technique is based on compile time program transformation for accessing remote data in distributed memory parallel system? Cache coherence scheme, computation migration, RPC, message passing. I think some of the concepts are not clear to you yet. Option B and C are coming. Option B, computation migration. Actually, to answer these questions, some of the part from chapter 2, second and third should be covered. Okay, no issues. Then next, we can take this as a example of our own knowledge. आपल्याला जेवढं माहिती आहे त्याच्यावर आपण आन्सर देऊ, चेक करू, नो मॅटर. Logical extension of computation migration is process migration, system migration, thread migration, data migration. Shravani is saying both B, C, C. कुठलं करेक्ट समजायचं? Out of syllabus. Okay, that is a good option, but that option is not included. We will include option E for you. Okay, process migration is correct one. थोडेसे पुढच्या लेवलचे क्वेश्चन आहेत, नो मॅटर. हा सगळ्यावाला पार्ट आपण पुढच्या चॅप्टर्स मध्ये कव्हर करतच आहोत. Processes on the remote system are identified by flood of option B, and that is correct. Both hostname and the identifier are important. Remote system we are considering, right? So that's why option B is correct. You should be able to identify the hostname and the identifier. Next one. Which routing technique is used in distributed system? Fixed routing, virtual routing, dynamic routing, all. Okay, all. Hello. Okay, option D is correct. For such kind of questions, most of the time, option D, including all of the mentioned, is correct one. You might have faced this kind of questions prior. Next one. In distributed system, link and site failure is detected by polling, handshaking, token passing, none of the mentioned. Good one. By using handshaking. Next, the capability. Hello. Okay. What is the question? The capability of a system to adopt the increased service load is called as a scalability, tolerance, capacity, none of the above. Option A is correct one. Good, and you are having flood of A in chat window. Next is internet provides dash dash remote login. Telnet, HTTP, FTP, RPC. For remote logging purpose. A, that is correct one. Because for Telnet, you need to give the proper authentication. Okay, these many questions are there in this particular chapter. Maybe some more are also there. I have not taken from your question papers, previous question papers. So I will take them in our next lecture as like this only. So for now, you can put your attendance in our chat window. Okay. 48 students are there right now.